Well, this here is the all-new updated Honda City for 2017, and meeting it for the first time is like meeting an old friend from the school who just got a new pair of sunglasses or glasses or chashmas or Enox or whatever you want to call them. And my point is that the changes on this car are really very subtle. You know that something is different, but what is it exactly? You can't really pinpoint. So I will explain the changes to you on the outside. Well, as you can see, it gets a new design for the headlamps, which now get LEDs in them. You also get new fog lamps, which also have LEDs. And the grille now is a lot more subtle. It's got a little less chrome, and the bumper also has been slightly tweaked to make it look a lot more modern as well as sophisticated. On the sides you get an all new alloy wheel design which looks very premium, and the top of the line version for the first time now comes with 16-inch wheels along with 185mm section tires, which should help the ride quality. Well, so those are the changes on the exterior. What about the interiors? Let's step inside and check them out. Well, so let's start off by talking about the boot on the new Honda City. Now, in terms of space, it's exactly as the old car was, and it is a very, very good boot in terms of its shape as well. The aperture is nice and wide. There's a bit of a loading sill over here, but it should not be too much of an issue because it is a deep boot. And for the first time, Honda have added a lot of cladding over here. If you are someone who's been in the old City, this generation's last version, then you would have noticed that this part was left completely blank, and you could see of course the metal over here. But Honda, in their aim now to make this car look and feel more premium, have finally given it a lot of cladding to really make it more upmarket. And if you are someone who has to quickly transport your mother-in-law back to the airport, then this is a car which should be pretty good at doing that. Well, here I'm inside the cabin of the new Honda City 2017, and the first thing you will notice is that the quality inside the cabin has been improved quite dramatically. You also get a lot of soft touch materials over here, and even the top of the door pad is now made of softer plastics than before. So overall, this car feels a lot more posh and upmarket than the outgoing Honda City. And you also get a big improvement in terms of the features list, which is the fact that this car now comes with a touchscreen panel for the infotainment system. Honda calls this the DigiPad, and essentially it is an Apple iPad-like device. It's a 7-inch display over here, which is very nice to operate and very intuitive as well, and it gets a lot of features including navigation. And talking about features, this is one of the best cars in terms of safety kit. You get ABS, EBD as well as 2 airbags as standard all across the range. So one of the better cars, in fact the best car in this segment in terms of safety kit. Well, what Honda hasn't changed inside the car is the fact that you get the same comfortable and very sumptuous seats. These seats really are very good in terms of cushioning as well as overall support. Support for the lower back is excellent. Support for your under thighs is very good. And the seats inside the City are so good, in fact, in terms of comfort, that even if you do a Delhi to Chandigarh trip or even longer than that, even if you travel about 6 or 8 hours, you will come out of this car very fresh and won't be tired in the least. Since we are Auto Portal, we will of course talk about practicality as a priority in all our videos, and it's no different with this one. So in terms of overall storage spaces, the City is very good. You get this huge box over here where you can of course keep your Enoch as well as your cell phone and wallet. It is a very, very deep glove box. You also get these 2 cup holders over here where you can keep those Diet Coke cans, and you also get big door bins where you can generally house that bottle from your home. And why do I talk about bottles? Well, simply because when you are of course doing a Delhi, Chandigarh or any long trip, you will of course need water, and even if you are of course traveling from your home to your office, you will need that water bottle, because these days it takes at least 1 or 2 hours to travel, and the summer really is pretty bad. So that's why we talk about practicality as well as water bottles over here in Auto Portal. Well, here I'm in the back seat of the Honda City now, and I have adjusted the front seat for someone who's about 5'7" or 5'8", which is really the height of an average Indian with their shoes on. I know on the net you'll find 5.5 is the official height, but with the shoes on, you get a little bit of a couple of inches there, here and there. So overall, 5'7", 5'8" is usually what the height of most people is. And as you can see, you have massive amounts of room over here. I am 5'10", as you know, and headroom is also more than adequate. Now there is a very small lump in the floor panel, but it's really very small. It's very marginal. So what that means is that whoever's going to sit here has plenty of place to keep his feet and stretch them. And if you are someone who's taller, if you are someone who's 5'10" or 5'11", like me in my shoes, then you can always adjust the seat like I have for someone who's that height. And even then, you have plenty of knee room, and headroom is more than adequate as well. So overall, a great place to be in the second row of the Honda City. And if you are someone who is a bit of a gadget freak like me, then you also get 2 charging outputs over here. You get 2 12-volt sockets where you can of course charge your iPads or iPods or even your laptop computer, and you also get these AC vents for that added bit of luxury. So the Honda City's back seats remain as good as ever for someone who prefers to be chauffeur driven all day long. Well, so here I'm driving the Honda City now, and this car comes with the same set of engines. You still get the same 1.5 litre diesel as well as 1.5 litre petrol engines. The petrol is very good in terms of power output. It's about 118 bhp, and the diesel still makes a very commendable 100 bhp of power, which are very good figures considering the size and class that this car is in. Well, Honda has taken in a lot of customer feedback, especially for the diesel engine, and what they have done now is that they have added a lot of sound deadening material all around the chassis of this car to make sure that the engine's noise and vibration levels are well under control. And I have to say that the diesel engine now feels a lot less clattery and a lot less noisier than the older car. And even though the typical diesel engine clatter is still heard, it can be heard, it is now a distant hum rather than that constant buzz that it was in the earlier car. So that's something which is very good. But for that everyday commute to office and back, it is a car which is pretty okay and pretty acceptable in the noise level department. Well, the diesel engine suffers from a little bit of turbo lag, and it starts becoming responsive only after around 2000 rpm, which means that you will have to use the gearbox quite a lot if you are stuck in stop-go city traffic. But that's not a big issue on the diesel engine, because the gearbox is a pretty light unit to operate. The clutch also is a pretty light unit, and the best part is that the throws are very accurate and are very compact. You don't have to use your entire hand to shift gears. You can simply use your wrist and shift gears without any issues at all. It really is one of the better gearboxes in this segment. Well, the petrol motor is also a very sophisticated engine. It's an iVTEC motor, remember, which uses a lot of sophisticated technology to get all that power out, and it's also a very fuel efficient engine. Well, both the petrol and the diesel are very good in terms of fuel efficiency. While talking about the performance of the petrol engine, it is by far one of the best petrol engines in this segment. And why is that? Well, this engine simply loves to rev. It revs all the way up to 6,500 rpm without any problems, and power starts coming out from a very low rpm. It starts developing its power from roughly about 1200 or 1300 rpm, which is very good for city driving. And even on the highway, there's lots of power available above 5000 rpm, which is a great thing for someone who enjoys to overtake that slow moving truck. So a great engine overall. And if you're a keen driver, you'll simply enjoy the rev happy nature of the petrol engine. It is an engine which simply enjoys being revved hard. Well, most of the journalists will tell you that this isn't really a great car for keen drivers because the steering wheel is not as accurate or as feelsome as it should be. But to be honest, no one who's buying a Honda City will buy it because you can chuck it around the track. They'll buy it more for ease of operation as well as hassle-free driving in the city. And in that department, the Honda City's steering wheel is really very good. And despite being light, it's a steering wheel which won't really make you feel nervous because it has decent feel and decent weight in it when you take it out on the highway. And this car feels decent in terms of stability out on the open road, because remember, it has a long wheelbase, so stability is pretty good. And now with the top of the line version getting 185 mm section tires, it does feel slightly better in the braking as well as overall stability department than the last version. Well, you can also choose a CVT option, which is a great option to choose if you want completely hassle-free driving. And it comes with a 7-speed torque converter. Yes, Honda offers a 7-speed torque converter so that you feel very engaged while you are driving that car. And it's a car which really does take out the hassle of driving on a daily basis when you're of course stuck in that chock-a-block city traffic. Now, in terms of ride comfort, this car is one of the better cars because it has a very good suspension setup. Even if you are in the city doing slow city speeds, you won't really have to slow down for those rumble strips in the middle of the road. And even the badly patched up roads don't really have too much of a threat on this car because you can negotiate over them without too many issues. Even at higher speeds, this car feels pretty stable because remember, this car has that long wheelbase, and the suspension does its job without any problems at all. Unlike a lot of its German rivals where the suspension is on the firmer side, the one on the City is nicely set up between soft as well as firm settings. So it is a very, very good balance between overall sportiness as well as comfort. Well, every time you take out the Honda City for a drive, you will realize that it is a thoroughly engineered product. It really is a car which feels very well engineered, and Honda has done a good job with the drivetrain, especially the iVTEC engine. It really is a dream engine. It's pretty good for the environment because it has very low CO2 levels, and it is an engine which will really go on and on and on and on. Reliability of the iVTEC motors are sensational and really are one of the best in the world. Well, so the new City really does feel a lot more posh and a lot more upmarket and premium than ever before. And these small and big changes really do make it feel like a more luxurious product than before. So if you are planning to upgrade from your premium hatchback and want to buy your first ever mid-size sedan, then the new Honda City is a car that you should definitely go ahead and check out. And the City is a car which has a lot of feel-good factor about it and is one of those few cars which will definitely put a smile on your face, not only when it's standing in your driveway, but every time you take it out for a spin. It's bye for now and hope to see you soon.